Got Nalin and Anand, who are the co-founders of Ecoprosus. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much, Vishal.
Good to have you on board. What are we going to talk about? They are the energy warriors of India. They've audited over 1,600 companies. They know how Indian manufacturing companies, Indian hotels, whatnot, how they consume energy and how they waste energy. Typically, a company with 50 machines spends about 25 lakhs per month, and it's apparently very inefficient. You know, Nalin, you have to tell me, why are Indians not thinking about energy saving? We spend a lot on capex to set up machines, lighting, whatnot, but why aren't we thinking about saving?
In India, there is predominantly a very big, attitude issue, wherein companies mostly look at the manufacturing process as a priority. They don't look at efficiency improvement as a priority. And efficiency is always relegated to the last number, right? So of late, because the energy prices have increased and energy is not available, so it's no longer cheap and it's no longer available. More and more industries are looking at energy efficiency.
So did you guys hear that energy is no longer cheap? Instead of blaming Modi or the Prime Minister or whatever, why is energy expensive now?
Energy is expensive because no new projects are coming up, no new conventional energy projects are coming up. There are no places to put up hydro projects. There are no places to. Nuclear is not an option because it's dangerous. You have environmental issues. So therefore, there are only two other options left. One is renewable energy like solar, wind, etc.
Which is what the Indian government is pushing now.
Which is what the Indian government as well as Narendra Modi is also pushing. On the other hand, energy efficiency is a very, very viable opportunity or a viable alternative because for every unit of energy we save, it is equal to 2 or 3 units of energy being generated. So this is a low-hanging fruit for any industry or any organization which they can start implementing within their premises. And it's got fantastic paybacks. We are talking about paybacks of less than 6 months, less than 3 months. Renewable energy like solar has got paybacks of 35 years.
Okay, typically there are about 25 million manufacturing plants in India. I mean SMEs, right? And they're large corporate. Let's come to them later. That's a low-hanging fruit as well. Nobody's thought about energy efficiency. What is a typical engagement like? How do you win your customers, Anand?
Okay, so what we do is typically we understand the infrastructure of a plant. We analyze what exactly the consumption happening. And we see the efficiency of the machineries. So we implement and then execute by bringing new trend technology and the new capex machineries, and then execute the project. The project could be simple by bringing down lighting by using IoT, or changing the chiller or a furnace, or it could be an integrated solution by bringing renewable energy and the machineries and the new trend technologies. By what I meant to say, new trend technologies, by just turning on, turning off at the right time, can save straight away 5% of the industry.
So by the way, they're not just a consulting company, they're also a make in India story. They bring in their own sensors. They tell you what chillers to buy, what kind of lighting to have, LED or whatnot. And you're also a financing company. Yeah. Many of our audience members, right, are young 21 to 35-year-old people who are first-time entrepreneurs. Some of them, at least 10% of my audience, are in the manufacturing segment. They don't know how to set up. Everybody sells them equipment. Some of my friends have hospitals. They're sold equipment, but they're not sold the theory of saving money. But you can save a lot of money, right? I mean, if you work with them. Are you guys expensive to work with? How does a typical engagement work?
So typically we have two options in this. Either the customer funds the entire engagement of, going in for a new energy efficient system or going in for new sensors and things like that. Or alternatively, we have a very innovative financing mechanism in which our company invests in the complete capex for the project and then recovers the money from the savings, till a certain period of time, till we recover the cost of the equipment. And once the cost of the equipment is recovered, we also transfer the entire project to them free of cost.
Okay.
So it's a win-win situation for the customer.
It's a build, operate, transfer kind of
model. It's a build, operate, transfer kind of basis. And it's a win-win situation because the entire technology risk and financial risk is taken by us. And the customer starts getting energy savings from day one.
So what is customer financing? You also work with these smaller businesses, say that we'll finance you the deal and then we'll recover it later. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, when I say that, I'll give you a typical example. So we are working with a hotel chain and they have these inefficient chillers which are almost about 18 years old.
20 years old?
Yeah, but these chillers are working, right? But they're not working very efficiently.
And they consume a lot of energy?
They consume a lot of energy.
How much per day?
For example, one of the chillers is consuming almost about 1,000 units per hour So we are talking about, with an average rate of about 9 rupees, we are talking about they spend about 10,000 rupees an hour. And these chillers are working 24/7, 365 days a year. Okay.
And that's the cost that they're bearing all this while. Nobody's gone and told them that they're spending money.
Absolutely.
So are you surprised, both of you, that sometimes you go to these clients, they don't understand this?
Oh yeah, so typical scenario is they're not realizing that a 10% reducing the energy cost is directly impacted to the bottom line of the business. If they have to get the bottom line impact, they have to do a turnover of at least 1.5 times. So now the energy is becoming more costlier and costlier, and also there is a X factor of everybody wants to bring down some greenhouse gas mitigation, carbon dioxide. So they want to do, but they don't know how to do.
Okay, that's where your audit comes in, right?
Exactly.
Okay, what are the policies around energy sustainability? That's also your tagline. What policies do state governments have, and is there a central government policy on energy sustainability?
So I'll just quickly tell you about this. This act which had been passed in 2001, which was called as an Energy Conservation Act. So this Energy Conservation Act was passed by an act of the Parliament, and which stated that the industries and organizations, buildings across India have to go for energy audits, implement projects, energy efficiency projects, save energy, and report back to the government what they've done. So the government has been doing various steps to implement this act, and of late the act has assumed so much importance that the government of India has identified about 14 key sectors. They are called as the designated consumers. These are energy intensive industries to start with, wherein we are talking about more than 850 to 1,000 companies which have been designated and made it mandatory for them to implement energy efficiency and report back to the government what they've done.
So there is a proper process that I have to audit my energy consumption.
Yes.
I have to present it to the government on how I'm saving.
Implement it and then present back to the government what savings they've done. So that is as per the Energy Conservation Act.
It's called PAT, that is Practice, Achieve and Trade policy.
Perform, Achieve and Trade.
Which is, if they do not adhere, they'll have to pay 10 lakh rupees as a fine and 10,000 rupees every day till they execute.
I mean, at YourStory, even are we supposed to do such a thing?
Of course, you have to.
Yeah, I mean, subsequently, probably you might also come under the ambit, but right now it is on the energy intensive industries. And the government of India has also launched something called as the National Mission on Energy Efficiency. So they have taken it as a key. I think 5 sectors have been taken, and they have taken it as a key priority sector that energy efficiency has to be implemented for energy independence. The government has a vision that to make India energy self-dependent, right?
So India is very good at its policy. Policy is very strong. You're saying it's only the implementation and execution. So that's where you're coming in, right? So you're also going to work with governments in the future. Is that a possible way of going ahead with business?
Yeah, we'll also work with the government because government sector is also consuming a lot of energy. We have huge this one on the government.
You want to give an example about Almaty Dam? You did something.
Yes,
I heard,
yes.
Right?
So,
you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So we have done a couple of projects earlier. We did this project for Almaty Dam for the Krishna Bhagya Jala Nigam Limited, wherein we did the entire light and sound for the Almaty Dam. It's about 100.
What is the problem statement?
The problem statement was they had a beautiful, underside of the dam, wherein the landscape of the dam, and the dam was poorly lit. It had inefficient lighting, and it had inefficient systems in place. So we replaced the complete systems with the efficient LED lighting, and we did the entire project to work on solar energy. So today you have a beautiful area which is totally, working on solar energy, and it's got beautiful lighting. The number of people who visited that has increased almost about 50 times since the light and sound project has been implemented.
And the best part is, before the project, the ticket collection amount was around 50 lakh rupees. Now straight away in a year, it is increased to 15 CR. The kind of collection. So it is now in Karnataka, if you have to take an example, it is better than KRS.
Interesting. So that's an impact on life also, on culture, right? I mean, you also have to tell me that you were telling me your peak load consumption also, right? Where the lights suddenly become very bright at 12 in the midnight when it's not. Those are things that the government's working on smart poles. You're working on a smart pole concept. What is that smart pole kind of You want to explain it to our audience, please?
Yeah. So since now India is bringing down 99 smart cities. Now, the smart cities is more of everything is getting connected and everything is monitored. Now, one of the biggest element there is a smart pole will become a key changer in the smart cities. Now the smart pole is just not LED lighting. Its smart pole will have a weather monitoring, will have artificial intelligence based cameras for security reasons, and we have electric vehicle unit charging stations. So today there is a
So I can pay my utility bills, I can charge my EV, I can get information about the city on these lighting poles.
Yeah, so in that you'll have an LED display which will also have an e-governance aspect as well. Now the electric vehicles industry is struggling to manufacture just because that we do not have an electric infrastructure, charging infrastructure.
In fact, the government, Sampath Raj, the mayor, has announced something, right?
Yes.
How do you guys bid for these projects, or do you guys go in as independent consultants?
So primarily, we have been working with a lot of private projects, and these government projects, we have started developing technologies. We are building a command center for these smart cities, and we intend to go for these government projects also in the near future.
The smart pole, is it your original IP? Is it your own? Or
the
is it a concept that exists?
It's completely done by us, because we have pedigree of almost 20 years working on the street lighting space, which I mentioned to you earlier. So we won the President of India award from Dr. Kalam for best technology implementation in the street lighting energy efficiency sector. So we are bringing that into design.
By the way, guys, Ecoprosus is a 1-year-old company. It's gone live over the last 4-5 months. They have an order book of 6 crores at the moment. They want to get to 500 crores in 3-4 years. But the interesting thing is about their team. The team has Mr. Ramesh, who's from Accenture. Yeah. It has Mayank from Samsung. It has you from Apollo Anand. And Nalin, you have your own company. You were an entrepreneur and you were doing IoT much before anybody else. Absolutely. I mean, people call it IoT now, but you were doing this 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
So our audience is young. They want to know, is it a combination of these experiences that builds a startup? And is that what makes a startup successful? How did you guys combine your ideas?
Today,
so many different fields. IT. Yes. I mean, you're in energy consumption saving, right? And
so
you come from
business strategy.
Operations, and Mayank comes from marketing also, right?
Yeah,
so how did you guys combine your resources?
So typically, technology can be built by anybody. What makes a successful company is a combination of 4 people, which is if you look at Walmart or Google, that's where the typical strategy that 4 people from 4 diversified industry coming their expertise and building the organization. So now we it's also accidentally that we all met, but with the one noble cause that we want to do something unique in the giving back to the ecosystem, and that's where we come with a different pedigree and we form the organization.
The passion of earning money along with giving back to the community is something which drives 4 people. So we have technical expertise, we have IT expertise, marketing. We have energy expertise, and we have marketing expertise, which I feel is actually a good success story for even new startups to emulate.
You guys are all mature. Most of our startups, young people today want to start up at 21, 22. Nothing wrong with that. But you guys put in 15 years in industry before you decided to start up?
Yeah.
15, 20 years?
Average is 17 years of all 4 of us.
Would you recommend that to younger people watching?
Oh yes. One point that I want to give back to the ecosystem is whether you have an idea, you are an young or old, you need to have a combination of all age people so that it brings a balanced environment in the organization to grow with a sustainable.
And second most important thing is for you to complement your skills. So I've seen startups, having typically 2-3, founders in there, and all of them having the similar skills, and then trying to scale up. Today it is very difficult to run a company, if you don't have a good team or a good complementing people. People is the most important thing. So therefore, if you have to build and grow the startup, you need to get the right team together.
So to win business, you have to solve a problem, right? And the solving a problem is what? Is it connected to money? Is that when people take you seriously? Because you're an India business.
Yes.
Unlike other companies that go to US and say, let me sell an IoT solution there because the clients pay. But you have proved everyone wrong that there are clients in India who understand that they need this solution. It's probably in the narrative, right? I mean, what would you recommend young people that go with cost saving in mind, or what the Indian customer wants, rather than sell them a solution?
The very first prima facie that one should understand is customer first strategy is the prima facie, and they're the best investor as well. You get customer winning, you have money already in your account. So when you go with the customer first strategy, your entire gamut of learnings and technology know-how or the implementation should be focused on solving what customer problem is. And once you bring that together, you are winning.
Is that what you think young people make mistakes at?
Yes, I mean that is one area which Anand, very well put it. I think the first year is not for you to start looking out for this one. So we have spent almost a year now, and we never focused on fund generation. We were more than focused on getting customers, and we knew that customers are the ones who are going to fund and fuel the business.
So your technology should be strong.
Yeah, technology should be strong. Solution for a given problem should be strong. You should be solving the problem. Once you have that in place, now we are going ahead and trying to see how we can raise funds for the company and see how we can scale geographies. We would like to spread it.
What I liked is you can serve hospitals, you can serve retail companies, and you can serve automobile companies. It's the same platform, right?
So we say from Panwala to the biggest company or the biggest organization or the biggest building, including a house owner, is a potential customer.
So typically the guy who you interact with is a facilities manager, or is it a C-suite decision today, the corporate suite?
That's the best part. So technically, which Nalin always mentions that, earlier scenario is the key people who is to be engaged was is the technical directors or the facility managers, right? But today, because the cost factor has come, the board of directors taking the decisions. The CEOs actually taking a decision that yes, I want to bring down the cost, because see, you cannot control the business today, right? What you can control is the expense, and one of the major expenses is the energy. And if you can bring down that energy cost by 10%, you're just directly impacting to your bottom line of the business. And that is where the best people to interact in our industry is the management and also the technical directors.
And what typically all of you go together and sell, or one of you goes to each client, or how does the typical?
So we make a team of 2 people, and sometimes we go 3 as well, because we need to do energy audit. We have to do the tour in the infrastructure. And then we'll have to also engage with multiple people.
We typically, this is for probably entrepreneurs or people who have companies watching our show today. We could actually do a walkthrough for them, and the walkthrough is
so
free.
They can come to your office.
Yeah. No, they don't have to come. We go to their industry. We do a free walkthrough for them and identify areas where potential energy saving is possible. Right, and then we give them a proposal and say that okay, this is where you can go for the next step.
You're also certified by the government for energy audit, right? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which is now the nodal agency across India for implementing energy efficiency, right? I talked about the Energy Conservation Act. So they are the nodal agency for implementing the act. They also certify energy auditors, through an examination process, and which is conducted every 6 months. So I am a certified energy auditor, so we are certified to conduct energy audits. So only certified energy auditors are capable of conducting energy audits, which are then recognized for various government compliance.
How many corporates work with you today?
Today we have more than about 30 corporates working in different sectors. So we are working in the hospitality industry, like I told you, 5-star hotels. We are working with industries. We are working with mother dairy, from which which gets milk to your doorstep every day.
It's amazing for a startup. How did you manage it? Because of connections, and how does a typical sales cycle is long?
It's very long.
Long?
Generally, it takes to acquire a customer from 3 to 6 months.
No, but the mother dairy project, how was it won?
So now the because of the pedigree of ELPRO Energy, so we did some energy audit in the past, and this is the right time to implement. Is got that we got acquainted again and got the customer.
So it takes time. So you tell them something, you suggest they might come back 1 year later, right? Is that the typical?
No, but this is the actually earlier energy was available, it was cheap.
Yes, like you mentioned earlier, right?
So now what is happening is the customers are actually following us up. We had to follow the customers earlier, but now
why is suddenly the world woken up? I mean, even at home we're used to our older parents telling us switch off the light, right? I mean, why suddenly these guys? Because everyone gets free power anyway. I mean, some of them take power for power is subsidized in many industries, right? In the automobile industry, it was subsidized.
Energy rates have become very high, and it's become a question of survivability. So today in industry, cannot reduce on labor cost, cannot reduce on raw material cost. Energy is the only cost where they feel that become more efficient and try to reduce.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I heard the automobile industry had a tax holiday for energy for a long time. Was that true? I mean,
yes, it is.
It is true, right?
It is true.
But it's going to stop. All those subsidies are going to stop.
Yes. If you notice, of late in Bangalore, you notice that diesel prices and petrol prices are almost coming on par. So which means to say the market is determining the cost of fuel.
The global market.
The global market is determining the cost of fuel, and fuel prices are increasing
That's
rapidly.
probably because we are dependent on thermal energy a lot, right?
Absolutely.
Thermal energy, and we are looking at oil imports. So when we talk about energy, we are just not looking at electricity. We are looking at diesel. We are looking at furnace oil.
All my startups there, anybody who employs more than 30 people, who have 2-3 buildings, I mean, some of them are bigger also. We have co-works, WeWorks watching this show. They're big organizations, real estate organizations with for 20-30 facilities, right? What would you tell them that why should they come work with Ecoprosus?
Okay, the simple fact is that it is responsibility to conserve energy. Number two, it is directly impact your business bottom line. So now, but the bottom line impact is the key factor that why they should work with us or work with company like ours to bring down integrated energy for sustainability.
So guys, they're not just a consulting company. They help you save on energy. So they're not just a solution, they're an end-to-end package. So let's take one audience question once come in before we close. This is Anish Sunu again says, according to you, as more and more things are getting connected, the connected world is IoT, right?
Yes.
And is security an important element that you want to get into also?
Oh,
Yes. Energy, can people tamper with these devices to mess up your energy consumption?
Security is a very, very important issue, especially, for example, one of the projects we talked about is controlling entire city street lighting using IoT from a central computer. So if the street lighting gets into the wrong hands, we start having people playing havoc with the street lighting. So security is an essential part of any IoT application today, and energy is definitely an important part because this is the key element for.
So we have set up a 100-seater security operation center along with the network.
Okay, very.
So
it's a knock.
It's a knock, and we going to bring bigger and better technology to make sure that our customers are in a secured environment.
Okay, my final question: how inefficient are we in energy consumption? Give me some numbers. For example, India, right?
Yeah, if you take an average, consumer of energy, it could be a household, or it could be an industry, or it could be a building, including co-working spaces. We have a potential of saving almost about 30 to 40%.
We can save.
Yeah. We just by proper practices, proper efficiency improvement, analyzing the machines within your facility, and try to improve on those. So typically we have no cost, low cost measures, medium cost and high cost measures. So we can implement no cost, low cost, immediately start saving around 4 to 5% energy.
Guys, this is a direct impact to your bottom line. So go understand your energy audit, go understand how you're consuming your energy, work with Ecoprosus. And thank you for being on the show, guys, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure being here.
And you've been a great audience. Go buy Make in India. Thank you.
Thank you so much.